So, Mr. Daniel, I met you kind of recently at the 2015 National Sports Collectors Convention. That was a lot of fun. Thank you for taking the time to sit down with me and talk. You're kind of an important figure in the community, and in the sense that you're as passionate about Frank Thomas collecting as some of us are, and I can really appreciate that and understand that kind of passion.
Right.
Um, so, are you excited or nervous about this interview?
Oh, I'm not nervous. Come on, bring it on.
So, tell me, at what age did you start collecting baseball card? What got you into baseball card collecting, I guess?
Well, it was at a young age, probably 5 or 6. Growing up in Milwaukee, the Brewers were, the team of choice for me. But I had uncles and even cousins who were a little bit older than me that had the Brewers cards. So then I wanted to collect the Brewers cards and had the Robin Yount's and the Paul Molitor's, and they really got me into liking the hobby. And then obviously later on, um, and two is when I started Frank Thomas.
When was that again?
92. So
92.
I was only 10 years old in 92.
Yeah. Okay, so we're peers. Yeah, you and I. Yeah,
You were
that's great. What about Frank Thomas got you collecting him?
Didn't really know much about the guy in 92, and shortly that, or I'd say mid 92 is when I found out that there was another card that was an error. The 1990 Topps error. I thought I had that card. Looking at Beckett's and card grading services, tough stuff. I don't know if it was tough stuff, but it was one of them had it in there, and it showed the card was worth $80. It's like $80 to a 10-year-old. Wow, I got something here. This is awesome. Well, then you come to find out, no, that you don't have that. You have the regular one, and you do not have the error. So, but after that, it pretty much showed me that okay, this guy's got some value, and a lot of people started collecting him, and then obviously friends down the road in the neighborhood had their collectors of Griffey or Cal Ripken and all the hottest hitters, Barry Bonds, even Juan Gonzalez, and it just brought the community together in the neighborhoods, and all the kids collect and trade cards, and that's really how I got into Frank Thomas.
So in a way, you were like you saw that he had value early on, and
And,
that signaled to you that you should collect him.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
raised a lot of flags for me to collect this guy.
Now, he and Griffey were featured probably on more insert cards in the 90s than a lot of other players. Um, did you find that collecting Frank Thomas became more complex as you got older?
Not not so much for me because I went more towards the base cards at the time, the ones I could afford to get my hands on. Young, being as young as I was, not having the income, relying on my parents to give me a certain amount of money every now and then. But no, because a lot of the kids in the area had same value of cards I had, so it was easy to trade within my group of friends to get what I wanted. Because fortunate for me, they weren't Thomas collectors. They most of them, to be honest, were Griffey, Cal Ripken type collectors, and all of those players were about the same when it came to card value in the early '90s. So it worked out in my favor.
What was your first Frank Thomas card, and how many unique Frank Thomas cards do you have now?
Yeah, it was actually the 1990 Topps rookie. That was the first one. And right now, I am, if not there yet, at 7,000 different Frank Thomas cards.
How do you catalog your progress? Do you keep in a like an Excel sheet or a Google sheet or something?
Right now, I don't have an Excel spreadsheet of it. I do have a checklist from the Beckett. And then obviously, there's a lot of stuff that aren't on that checklist. So I came up with my own little checklist of all like the sample cards and some of the non-licensed. Yeah,
Yeah.
and those aren't obviously in the checklist. So you got to make one up for yourself. That's the direction I went.
Yeah, absolutely. I do the same thing. For me, I have a section in my checklist that's for unlicensed cards, and I just add to it whenever I find something. It doesn't muddy up the MLB and MLBPA checklist of all the stuff that's been released into packs and whatever else. So that's a good way to keep that organized. What are some of your favorite cards?
Well, I mean, the '90s inserts were the best. I mean, for me personally,
Hmm.
they're a lot of creativity went in those cards.
Yeah.
It was sad to see like the Pacifics and the Pinnacles go, in the time because they were really fun. But other than that, game use was a big thing for me too. It got a little out of hand. Those cards always were a fun thing for me.
Do you still collect a lot of the game used? Do you focus on those?
Yeah, unfortunately, because it's costing me. But yeah, it was nice earlier on because
Yeah.
it just wasn't going for as much as it is now.
It kind of leads me into another question is do you have a focus?
No, get it to try to get as many as I can. Whatever one's available, I try to get in my collection. Within affordability, of course.
Right. A lot of player collectors have cards that they feel were perhaps the most difficult to track down amongst all the cards in their collections. Can you talk about a card or two that you feel maybe falls into this category?
Um, Tough ones for me to get. Crusade Red. That one's always been the elusive one for me, and that's really the only one I really want to this day. There's a bunch of other ones, but that one is my holy grail. I think that I want.
For a card number to 25, that's proven to be very, very difficult to acquire. I mean, even the 96 Select Certified Mirror Golds number to 30, and you just never see them ever, ever, ever. And
Right.
it's a tough. It's an ongoing thing. I have a top most wanted list, and some of the cards on there I've either been underbidder on or I've never seen hit market, or they got lost in transit when I bought them, and I I'm out of luck. So that's happened to me a couple times. Stuff on like the super ultra rare list have been lost in transit, which has been devastating.
That's
So.
yeah. That to me almost is suspicious.
So outside of that card, what are some others that you're still looking for?
The ones you were mentioning, the golds, they're very elusive. They don't come up very often. Very hard to get. But other than that, I really don't have too many on my list that I would consider, oh, I have to have. I view it as I'm not going to be able to get everything. So I don't have that rule of thumb where, oh, I have to get that, except for that Crusade. I just feel like I have to get that one of these days. But all the other ones, I'm not really, concerned about. With the collection I've got now, I've got a lot of stuff that's rare. You've seen some of it, I've posted, and I mean, it's just awesome to know that there's a bunch of guys who we communicate with that have a lot of those rare cards that at least I get to see them, even if they're not in my collection. They're in somebody else's collection that is a huge fan, and that's gratifying enough for me.
It's nice to communicate with other fellas that have a similar passion and can be excited about cardboard the same way that I can, and share those things. And I think seeing scans of stuff that I didn't know existed, or I knew existed but I never seen, that to me is beneficial. Even if I can't have it myself, it's just nice to know that it's out there.
Yep.
And I guess it brings to another question is when you find that somebody else has a one of one, obviously you don't have it, so do you make a mental note that that person has that card?
I think at some point in time you think something's always going to be acquirable. You just never know. But yes, I do keep mental notes of some one-on-ones. Most of them I don't really care about. It's just it's like a first come first serve basis. It
Yeah.
comes 101, and there's so many of them.
So
But
many, so many. Do you collect printing plates?
well, I do, but I don't focus on the printing plates.
Hmm.
I will get them, reasonably priced, but I'll go after them. But for the most part, I don't really try to get them.
Yeah, I've talked to some other player collectors, and they say that because they don't really view them as actual cards, they don't go after them. But they're still, I guess, they're still one of ones, right?
Right. Right.
And so I'm with you though. I get them when I feel like it's the right time and it's a good price.
A lot of printing plates out there that it's kind of like, well, that's not his greatest image. That's not the greatest pose. Or that's not the greatest card. So you decide, okay, well, I'll pass on that one. But then you see that one that comes up, and you're like, wow, that's a really nice printing plate. I'll take that one.
Do you have a full printing plate rainbow?
No,
Would
unfortunately, I don't.
Would you believe that I'm one short of a rainbow? The fourth card got stolen in the mail.
It's like, you hope one day it comes up online again, I guess.
Yeah, that was this past summer, but that's another story entirely. Do you collect anyone else besides Frank Thomas?
I'll do some Jeters and Griffey. Some of the guys that we grew up with, even A-Rod. I mean, it just whatever's available for a really good price. Yeah, I'll probably just take a few of those. But for the most part, I don't collect any other players.
If you weren't collecting Frank Thomas, who would you be collecting?
Ooh, that's a good question. You know what? It'd probably be a local guy from the Brewers. To be honest with you, it probably would have been a Robin Yount or a Paul Molitor, and that's just because I grew up in Milwaukee. It's hard to imagine me collecting somebody else because I've always stuck with Frank. Throughout his career, I really didn't view anybody else as a guy I wanted to collect. It was just him. And a lot of that decision making was a lot to the part where nobody else in my area collected them. So I had free reign of all his stuff back in when I was growing up.
Being from Milwaukee, would there be any interest or probability to collect Gary Sheffield or Ryan Braun?
Ryan Braun, yes. Gary Sheffield, no way. Before, when he was young, when the Brewers first got him, yeah, he was. Everybody liked him. But Ryan Braun, yeah, not me personally because I would have been too old, probably in the hobby to be collecting Ryan Braun. But future, people in the Milwaukee area, yeah, it's probably him. There's really not that many other Brewers that have that image to collect.
I hear that Yount's image out there is sort of a legendary status,
Oh yeah,
you know.
whenever you go to any of the local Milwaukee card shows, it's his rare one of one or really hard to find cards of him that are just explosive in the Milwaukee area. People love those things. They're always. I mean, Hank Aaron's a big one too, but for the more affordability route, yeah, you're looking at Yount in the Milwaukee area.
Gotcha. When I lived in LA, it was big guys like Koufax and all the Drysdale and Andre Ethier and I mean, of course, anywhere you are, if you have a pro team, you're gonna have a target
Right.
audience that is built in to that process, to that system, and so in Milwaukee, you're gonna have that obviously with the Brewers. Do you have any future plans for your collection? And if so, what are they? Some people answer this question by saying things like, they mention an interest of building a website to showcase their collection or creating a better system of organizing their collection.
Yeah.
Do you have any plans going forward?
Not at this time. I pretty much fulfilled a lot of my plans within the last couple of years. Moving into a house, and the room that we're actually in right now is kind of like my room of choice to have my collection in. That was really my pinnacle right there. I guess looking further down the road, better organization of cards would probably be the best thing for me. But as of right now, I got a system that I have down packed, and I can usually track down all my stuff fairly easily. So I don't have that as an issue. But other than that, I think organization of not just my cards, but all my other oddball items would be another thing, because it's a lot of stuff I can't display with the room I have, and it'd be nice to maybe photo log a lot of that stuff for personal keep.
Yeah, because you do more than just cards. You've got memorabilia too.
Yeah, yeah.
So you've
So
you've, you've encompassed
it's
a
all
broader spectrum of acquirables, which is really
right.
impressive.
Yeah, and
Um,
it takes up space, so
it does take up space.
that's the one downfall to it.
Well, tell me, what are some of your favorite pieces of memorabilia that you have, or like rare items, or what are some notable pieces that you have in your possession, maybe in that room, or just off the
Um,
top of your head?
sure, sure, sure. Um, the one or the two items I like that are just so unique were the candy bar issued that came out when he was doing the fundraiser for leukemia. I'm sure you're aware of the two candy bars.
Yeah, the red one and the black one. I've got a signed copy of the black one, and I've
Okay, and it was a gold signature on that one, wasn't it?
uh, I think yeah, gold or silver.
But yeah, that I like those. I think those are really cool because the candy bar's intact in mine. I'm sure it is in yours as well. Um,
Right, mine is intact.
so that it's cool to know that there's only a few out there. That's pretty cool. I like that item. I do like the Nicole Miller tie.
Oh yeah, the
That's
signature on the back, that one, the hand
I don't
number.
have the one with the signature. I just have the regular one.
Yeah,
But the one I have, it's an original package still. So it came in a package. So it's always unique.
super unique. Yeah. With your cards, what is your system of organization?
Okay. Um, for the most part, I have a lot of them in binders because I like to view uh, my cards like when I was a kid. It kind of brings you back to the good old days when you had a binder, you could go through and page through your cards. And the unique thing about it is you see all the cards lined up in the perfect rainbow if you have it, and it really makes it a more pleasurable experience for the card collector. I know it's more of a dangerous type of method because some people are scared that they're going to get bent or they're going to come out of the pockets. But I view myself as a very careful person, so I don't ever have issues. I never had an issue with a card bending because it was in a binder, um, mainly because I'm the only one who's going to be grabbing that binder and viewing what's in it. Nobody else is able to touch it. The only other person who does come over here is my best friend Ben, and he's a big bonds collector. And he understands the hobby, and you've met him.
You've got cards and binders. What
The ones
about?
that can fit, obviously. Now, if you're gonna, I know what you're gonna ask me. You're gonna ask me about the ones in the jerseys
Yeah,
and
right. What do you do
well,
with those?
those I have a special thing for. I do put those in top loaders.
Okay.
I don't put those in binders at all. I do put them in. Most of them are in one touches or top loaders for the most part. Yes.
Do you have any like extra thoughts you want to share?
About the hobby or about Frank Thomas?
Anything you think would be relevant to your conversation?
The thing that I like, I'm really happy that I'm part of this is the Facebook page that has the Thomas collectors in it. I I'm really happy that we all got together. It's a small world out there, and for all of us to be in that little bubble of the world, um, and to be part of everybody's experience when they're posting and sharing, I just think that's really gratifying. And to the collectors that don't have certain items, or if you're searching for a certain item, it's a good way to communicate with each other and trade cards like back when we were kids. A little different way of doing it, but nonetheless, it's fun getting stuff in the mail from somebody from the card group or from the Thomas group. Seeing their name come up, it's like, okay, I know this is going to be a nice card. Coming from somebody from the group, it's gratifying. So I'm just thankful that that group's around, and you're part of it now. Shout out to Matt and Brant. They pretty much were the head guys in charge of it. Joe Rodriguez as well. I'm just thankful for that group.
I want to thank you for talking with me today.
Yeah. Well, take care, Patrick. It's been a pleasure.
Pleasure. Take care, Daniel.